This video is to help you with the inferencing assignment for Thursday. The Inference in Grandma, a short story by Bradbury. The assignment is to explain two things you can infer about great grandma and give textual evidence for each. So I will read this for you and then show you how to set up your assignment. She was a woman with a broom, or a dustpan, or a wash rag, or a mixing spoon in her hand. You saw her cutting pie crust in the morning, humming to it, or you saw her setting out the baked pies at noon or taking them in cool at dusk. She rang porcelain cups like a Swiss bell ringer to their place. She glided through the halls as steadily as a vacuum machine, seeking, finding, and setting to rights. She made mirrors of every window to catch the sun. She strolled but twice through any garden, trowel in hand, and the flowers raised their quivering fires upon the warm air in her wake. She slept quietly and turned no more than 3 times in a night, as relaxed as a white glove to which at dawn a brisk hand will return. Waking, she touched peopled-like pictures to set their frames straight. But now, Grandma, said everyone, great grandma. Now it was as if a huge sum in arithmetic were finally drawing to an end. She had stuffed turkeys, chickens, squabs, gentlemen and boys. She had washed ceilings, walls, invalids, and children. She had laid linoleum, repaired bicycles, wound clocks, stoked furnaces, swabbed iodine on 10,000 grievous wounds. Her hands had flown all around, about and down, gentling this, holding that, throwing baseballs, swinging bright croquet mallets, seeding black earth or fixing covers over dumplings, ragouts, and children wildly strewn by slumber. She had pulled down shades, pinched out candles, turned switches, and grown old. Looking back on 30 billion of things started, carried, finished, and done, it all summed up, totaled out, and the last decimal was placed. The final zero swung slowly into line. Now, chalk in hand, she stood back from life a silent hour before reaching for the eraser. Let me see now, said Great-Grandma. Let me see. With no fuss or further ado, she traveled the house and the ever-circling inventory, reached the stairs at last, and making no special announcement, she took herself up 3 flights to her room where, silently, she laid herself out like a fossil imprint under the snowing, cool sheets of her bed. When we infer about a character, we look at the clues the author gives us. This first paragraph has many clues on what kind of woman she is. There are several clues that she's a very domesticated woman. She's a woman that enjoys being outside in her garden. She is a busy woman in the household, and she keeps a good home. She likes to cook and bake. She keeps a clean home, and she has a nice family. We have a reference to peopled like pictures. So grandma and great-grandma, we know that she has produced a good big family. The second half of the story, We have many different pieces of evidence in the text to show that she is aging, drawing to an end. 30 billions of things started, carried, finished, and done. The last decimal was placed. Final zero swung slowly into line. She laid herself out like a fossil imprint under the snowing, cool sheets of her bed. So these pieces of evidence here are inferring that she's aging, that her time is coming to an end, that she is no longer in her younger years, that her time is going to be passing, that it's almost time for her to end these earthly years and to die. So it's a bittersweet story about a woman who has lived a good life and must move on to the next one. If you are in class on Tuesday, I showed you how to set up your document or paper for this assignment. You're going to list it as 1 and 2. The first thing is your inference. Secondly is your textual evidence. Textual evidence means you're quoting from the text. You are taking something word by word from Ray Bradbury's story that we just read. Explain 2 things you can infer about great-grandma and give textual evidence for each.